Let's talk about the Zulu Kingdom. They were like the rock stars of southern Africa in the 19th century. Imagine a warrior culture so strong, it sent shivers down the spines of their enemies. These guys were the real deal. The Zulu were all about unity, discipline, and kicking some serious butt. At the heart of their story is a dude named Shaka Zulu. This wasn't just another king, people. This was Shaka. He took a group of scattered clans and molded them into a powerful kingdom. We're talking about a leader so epic they still tell his stories today. Shaka's reign was all about expansion. He knew the Zulu were a force to be reckoned with, and he wasn't afraid to show it. But like any good story, there were some plot twists along the way. Think epic battles, political intrigue, and yes, even some clashes with the big bad British Empire. Shaka's story is the ultimate underdog tale. Born out of wedlock, he had a tough childhood, facing rejection and even exile. But this dude was resilient, man. He learned to fight, honed his leadership skills, and eventually rose to power. He wasn't handed anything on a silver platter. Shaka earned his stripes through sheer determination and military genius. He reformed the Zulu army, introducing new tactics and weaponry that changed the game entirely. This wasn't your grandpa's army, folks. Shaka trained his warriors to fight as one, like a well-oiled machine. He even came up with the buffalo horn formation, a tactic so effective it's still studied in military schools today. Shaka's vision transformed the Zulu Kingdom. He took them from a small, insignificant group to a powerful force that dominated the region. Talk about a glow-up. Shaka understood that to be the best, you gotta have the best tools. He revolutionized Zulu weaponry, ditching the flimsy throwing spears for the 𝖿𝖎𝖙𝖎𝖓𝖌, a short, stabbing spear designed for close combat. Brutal, but effective. But weapons were only part of the equation. Shaka also implemented a grueling training regimen for his warriors. We're talking barefoot marches over miles of rough terrain, hand-to-hand combat practice, and strict discipline. These guys were tough as nails. They learned to fight as a unit, moving with speed and precision that left their enemies dazed and confused. They were the pride of the Zulu Kingdom, feared and respected throughout the land. Shaka's military reforms didn't just create a strong army. They forged a new identity for the Zulu people. They became known for their bravery, their fighting prowess, and their unwavering loyalty to their king. Now, the Zulu weren't just about fighting. They were a people with a rich and vibrant culture that extended far beyond the battlefield. Their society had a strong sense of community and culture. Music, dance, and storytelling were integral parts of their daily lives, bringing people together and preserving their history. They were pastoral people, relying on cattle for their livelihood. The Zulus' relationship with their cattle was deeply spiritual and practical, as cattle provided milk, meat, and hides. Cattle weren't just animals to them. They were a symbol of wealth and prestige. Owning a large herd was a sign of prosperity and social status. Family was everything in Zulu culture. The family unit was the cornerstone of their society, with extended families living together and supporting one another. They lived in homesteads called kraals, groups of huts arranged in a circle, with a cattle enclosure in the center. This arrangement fostered a sense of security and community. It was a way of life that emphasized unity and cooperation. Everyone had a role to play, from the youngest child to the eldest elder, ensuring the well-being of the entire community. The king was at the top of the social hierarchy, followed by chiefs, headmen, and then ordinary people. The king's role was not just to lead in times of war, but also to ensure the prosperity and harmony of the kingdom. But even with this hierarchy, there was a strong sense of shared identity and purpose among the Zulu. Ceremonies and rituals played a crucial role in reinforcing this unity. They were a people united. Their strength lay in their ability to come together as one, whether in times of celebration or adversity. Life wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, though. The Zulu faced numerous challenges, from external threats to internal strife. Shaka's rule, while effective, was also known for its ruthlessness. His military innovations transformed the Zulu into a formidable force, but his methods were often brutal. He wasn't afraid to eliminate any opposition, which is something we can't ignore when talking about his legacy. Shaka's impact on the Zulu way of life was profound, shaping their history and culture in ways that are still felt today. With their powerful army and Shaka at the helm, the Zulu Kingdom went on a conquering spree. Shaka, a brilliant military strategist, revolutionized the Zulu army with innovative tactics and rigorous training. His leadership transformed the Zulu warriors into a formidable force, feared by many. They absorbed smaller tribes, expanding their territory and influence across southern Africa. The Zulus' expansion was not just about military conquest. It also involved integrating the cultures and traditions of the tribes they absorbed, creating a more unified and diverse kingdom. This period, known as the 𝖿𝖎𝖐, was a time of great upheaval and change. The term 𝖿𝖎𝖐 means the crushing or scattering, reflecting the widespread disruption and displacement of communities. It was a time when the social and political structures of many tribes were irrevocably altered. But this expansion came at a cost. The relentless campaigns led to significant loss of life and resources. The Zulus' aggressive expansionist policies created a ripple effect, causing widespread fear and instability among neighboring tribes. As the Zulu grew stronger, they made enemies along the way. Many tribes banded together to resist the Zulu onslaught, forming coalitions to protect their lands and people. These alliances, however, were often fragile and short-lived. Other tribes, displaced and threatened by the Zulu advance, were forced to flee their homes or face annihilation. The mass migrations led to the formation of new communities in distant regions, forever altering the demographic landscape of southern Africa. It was a turbulent time, with constant battles and shifting alliances. The political landscape was in a state of flux, with power dynamics changing rapidly. Tribes that were once powerful found themselves on the defensive, while others seized the opportunity to expand their own influence. The Zulu, however, remained a dominant force, their military might unmatched in the region. Their disciplined and well-organized army continued to secure victories, solidifying their reputation as a formidable power. They were a force of nature, reshaping the political landscape of southern Africa. The Zulus' influence extended far beyond their immediate territory, affecting the political and social structures of neighboring tribes. But little did they know, a new threat was on the horizon. European colonizers, hungry for land and resources, were about to make their presence known. The arrival of Europeans marked the beginning of a new era, one that would bring even greater challenges and conflicts. And things were about to get real. The clash between the Zulu Kingdom and European colonizers would set the stage for a dramatic and transformative period in southern African history, one that would leave a lasting impact on the region. As the Zulu were busy building their empire, the British were busy doing what they did best back then, sticking their noses where they didn't belong. They arrived in southern Africa, looking to claim land and resources for themselves. The Zulu, being no strangers to conflict, were like, "Hold up, this is our turf." The stage was set for a clash of titans, the mighty Zulu army against the technologically advanced British Empire. The first encounters between the two were tense. The British underestimated the Zulu warriors, seeing them as primitive and uncivilized. Oh, how wrong they were. The Zulu, for their part, were unimpressed by these pale-faced newcomers and their fancy guns. It wasn't long before these simmering tensions boiled over into open conflict. The Zulus, led by their new king, 𝖿𝖎𝖎𝖓𝖌, were determined to defend their land and way of life against this new threat. The Battle of 𝖍𝖎𝖓𝖌 in 1879 was a serious wake-up call for the British. It was a moment that shattered their illusion of invincibility and forced them to reconsider their approach to colonial expansion in southern Africa. They thought they could just waltz in and take over, but the Zulus had other plans. The British underestimated the Zulu warriors, thinking their superior technology would easily overpower the indigenous forces. This was a clash of two worlds, two completely different ways of fighting. The British relied on their disciplined, regimented formations and advanced weaponry, while the Zulus employed guerrilla tactics and intimate knowledge of the terrain. The British, with their advanced weaponry and disciplined formations, were confident of victory. They believed their rifles and bayonets would easily cut through the Zulu ranks. The Zulus, armed mostly with spears and shields, relied on speed, agility, and their famous buffalo horn formation. This formation allowed them to encircle and overwhelm their enemies, striking fear into the hearts of their opponents. The battle was fierce and bloody. The chaos of hand-to-hand combat was a stark contrast to the orderly lines of the British, and the Zulus used this to their advantage. The Zulus, despite being heavily outnumbered, fought with incredible bravery and ferocity. Their determination and fighting spirit were unmatched, and they were willing to lay down their lives for their land and people. They outmaneuvered the British, flanking them and using the terrain to their advantage. The Zulus' intimate knowledge of the landscape allowed them to execute surprise attacks and strategic maneuvers that caught the British off guard. In the end, the Zulu achieved a stunning victory, handing the British one of their worst defeats in colonial history. The British forces were decimated, and their confidence was shattered. It was a victory that sent shockwaves throughout the world, proving that the Zulu were not to be trifled with. The news of the Zulu triumph spread quickly, and it became a symbol of resistance against colonial oppression, inspiring other indigenous groups to stand up against their colonizers. Thank you for watching.